Hi, I'm Emily Shacklett, leader of the Executive Services practice here at Fairport and Luma Wealth. We come to you today because we are still in an environment of extreme job struggle. Just as recently as this week, the unemployment claims came out much higher than expected. So we're not out of the woods yet, even though things feel like they're getting a little better. We've seen so many executives take bonus and salary cuts, being asked to take furloughs, even getting laid off or taking termination packages from their companies. So we're here to help you today. What happens in a time like this when you're feeling insecurity and fear around your jobs and whether or not they'll be there? Well, as my mother would say, knowledge is power. So what do you need to do in a time when you're not certain if you've got strong footing in your career? You need to attain the knowledge necessary to give yourself the power to move ahead. So I want to share with you a story. It's a story about Sally. Sally is a young executive, age 52, in her prime, and gets an offer for an early termination package from her company. Now, for about the first 5 minutes, she was super jazzed up. Wow, this job has been so stressful. I've really wanted a new career for quite some time now, and now I've got the opportunity, yippee-yi-yay. Well, the challenge is, when she thought about it for more than 5 minutes, she realized, this is scary. I'm 52 years old, and I've got a long time to live off my assets, and can I even afford to do this, even though I know I need to? So what did Sally do? Sally said, I'm gonna reach out to my advisor, and I'm gonna gain the knowledge I need to feel comfortable in taking those next steps in my career trajectory. So step one, the most important thing you need to do is take stock of your situation and build a budget. And be practical. You know, oftentimes we find retirees who will say, oh gosh, I think my expenses will go down in retirement. But the fact of the matter is, that generally doesn't happen, and we often see them go up, especially with early retirees. So think about things like healthcare costs. Those could go up because maybe you're buying healthcare on the open market and you have less robust coverage and higher deductibles. Second of all, you've got more time on your hands, so make sure that you're thinking in your budget about travel and entertainment and things that you might want to do with that extra time. And heck, you're going to be at your house a lot, so maybe you'll be doing home improvements or, things of that nature. So be realistic about that budget. It's key to success in making a decision on whether you can actually afford to take this next step. So then what do? You've got a budget put in place. Step two is knock that budget around. How can you reduce some of these expenses that aren't meaningful to you so that you can actually make sure that you've put aside money for that fun stuff that we just talked about? Discretionary expenses, I think of things like cable and internet. I feel like it's so expensive, and there's lots of ways to reduce those types of expenses, and how meaningful are they really in our life if we're traveling all the time? But another thing to really think about, especially in an interest rate environment like this, is look at your debt situation. Can you refinance? Can you consolidate? Can you simplify? Get lower interest rates and actually both reduce your expenses and simplify your life. So knock that budget around and get to a good number and figure out what it is that you need to live for either the rest of your life or some period of time until you get another job. So then what's step three? Step three is taking that budget and working with your advisor to build a multi-year cash flow. You're obviously going to be looking at what are the assets that I have, what are the termination payments that I might be receiving from leaving my company, and then build those expenses into the mix. And look at it in a couple of different ways to see what the sensitivity of that is. At that point, you should be able to determine, can I afford to retire completely? Might I need to look for an encore career or a part-time job or something to keep me engaged, but also to bring in a little extra income? So use that cash flow as a tool to figure out what the rest of your life will look like to live the lifestyle that you want to live. Next, once we've gotten through that and we've said, yes, I can retire. Yes, I'm going to retire, but I know I need to get an encore career. What do we do next? Well, if your company has offered you a termination package, don't just passively accept that package and walk away. really think that through, because oftentimes there's decision-making factors. When you sign the package might dictate when it gets taxed. And so there's opportunities to both minimize the taxes and optimize what you receive in the payout. So be very thoughtful about that. Work with your advisors to run multi-year tax projections so that you can understand the tax implications and maximize them. Another thing is, just because you've gotten terminated and gotten a severance package doesn't mean you are not eligible for unemployment. So know what your rights are. You may be able to collect that termination package, get some unemployment for a period of time to supplement your income, thus propping up your nest egg for all these years to come that you will be living off the assets. The last thing I'll share with you is step 5, which is really critical, and it's kind of more around the whole emotional well-being of the situation. A lot of us have a tremendous amount of our self-worth tied up in our careers, and it's how we engage with people. So don't lose sight of the need to stay connected. That connectivity could be for purposes of finding that encore career we talked about. It could be because you just simply want to stay around like-minded people and continue to engage with them. Or it could be because you're looking for fun things to do and volunteerism opportunities, and you need a network to find those things. Key, stay connected. So what I'll ask you to do is, if any of this was of interest to you today, or if you want to talk more about it, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or your Fairport Luma Wealth advisor. We want to talk to you more about this. These are pivotal and emotional decisions, and it sometimes helps to have a critical ear and an objective ear to listen alongside of you. So don't hesitate to reach out.